webinar brought to you by the African Guru Academy. Today's theme is building generational wealth through real estate investing. Some persons will say real estate investment. I know that some persons probably would have been asking themselves why they should invest in real estate, and some others will be asking themselves why they should own a property or why they should own a land. Here's why, or here's the point. An asset or a real estate, I'd rather use the word an asset because owning a property or starting a venture in the real estate, it's modified as owning an asset. Great. So owning an asset are economic values, or assets are economic values that provide future benefits for growth, future benefits for sustenance. All right. But then we have a couple of persons who are going to be speaking with us here today, in no other persons but our keynote speaker, who is Miss Miriam Shoaib. We have the panelists, and one of them happened to be here, who is Mr. John Olisa, and we have another panelist, Ferdinand Anthony. I use this medium to recognize them, especially both in their presence and absence. My name is Dr. Blessing Ogbo, and I will be your moderator for tonight's session. Thank you. On the role section here, the first agenda we have for today, by the way, forgive me, we had some persons who came here earlier on. I recognize you specially and I welcome us all. Thank you for joining. On the role section today, this is a point where we are going to be having our remarks. But before we start that, I would love to share the section roles of today's webinar. We're going to have the first role, or the first opening, which is going to be a welcome remark by the host. That will take about 5 minutes, and we're going to be having the keynote address, which will take 20 minutes. And the next, we're going to be having the panel discussion. Much later, we're going to be having a closing remark. But then this is a call for us to keep focused on why we are here and expect the best from this talk tonight. Thank you once again for joining. Now we'll move on to the first role, is a welcome address by the chief host. The chief host will be introducing the event, the speakers, and objectives of the webinar. Our chief host is going to be Mr. Abdul Hakim A. Abdul Karim. Please, if you're on the live, just share a filler with Mr. Abdul Karim. Just share an emoji, please, to welcome him. Thank you. Mr. Abdul Hakim, over to you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I mean, with that smile of yours, who wouldn't enjoy the webinar today? Thank you very much for giving us the honor. Good evening, delectable ladies and gentlemen from different parts of the world, wherever you're joining me from today. It's 8:04 West African time. So I welcome you all on call. African Guru Academy is an academy that prides itself in helping people build their capacity, aligning person, purpose, passion, and profit. If all of this is aligned, you're living a truly meaningful life. And we have a flagship program, Skills to Go. Skills to Go, here we believe that everybody have a skill set that they can monetize, or they have the innate ability to learn any given skill set that aligns with their purpose and earn from it. Now, coming to the theme for today's webinar. This is the first webinar we're having this year, even though we've been doing this for the past 2 years. This is the first we're having this year, and there's a particular reason why we choose to talk about wealth creation and talk about real estate. So why exactly are we looking at real estate? And why exactly are we looking at wealth creation? In order to achieve anything in this life, finance is important. You can hear and aspire to perspire coach, mentor, speaker that will come and tell you that money is not everything. Leave money. Leave. But the truth is, you cannot do anything without money, no matter how good or bad you are. You need money. The people you complain of that they are oppressing, they are doing what they are not supposed to be doing, they are doing it only because they have the capacity. So in order to catch up, you need to leverage on what is available. Hence, why we're talking about this evening. Then let's bring real estate into context. Real estate is the oldest means of wealth creation. A lot of war has been fought over land, and a lot is still going on. People come from zero to heroes in the space of real estate. People become multi-billionaires with real estate. And there's this myth that you cannot venture into real estate if you don't have a lot of money at hand. But it's possible. It's possible to start at zero. It's possible to start with almost nothing and make a name for yourself in this space. So I welcome you all. Let's listen in to all the value that we share this evening. Let's ensure that we not only gather all that we discussed and leave it where it is, we take action and act on it. It's my personal hope and aspiration that before the end of this year, at least everybody on call this evening will be a landlord. And it's possible. It's highly, highly possible. If you don't believe it, that little voice that's telling you in your mind, in your head that it's not possible, tell it to be quiet. Silence that voice. You can be a landlord. And if you're already a landlord, you can multiply what you already have. Having said this, I want to welcome you all once again. Please listen in, take lots of notes, and ask questions at the end. The point is, get clarification so we all get value at the end of this. And with this, I hand control back to the moderator. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that great keynote or for that great speech. Our dear host, Mr. Abdul Hakim Abdul Karim, thank you so much. Right now, before we proceed to having the keynote speaker come up, I would love us to have a puzzle. Just while we are sitting down, let's ask ourselves some questions. If you have a pen and a paper, write some questions you have been wanting to know about the real estate investment. Write some questions. As he mentioned, you can start a real estate investment from zero, with zero. And so from zero on to nothing, you can move to somewhere or to something great. So take a pen and a paper, write yourself or write that question out, okay, on that has been bothering you on the real estate. Now we'll move on to the next session, and that session is having our keynote speaker give us an insight on building generational wealth through strategic real estate investing. Our keynote speaker will be discussing with us on this agenda. But before I bring up our keynote speaker, please, keynote speaker, if you're with us, please can you indicate with a thumbs up so that we can push to this, please? That's all right. I see you, our great keynote speaker. She's here giving us a thumbs up and lights up with her presence. Before I bring up our keynote speaker, please permit me to read her biography. Great. Still on building a sustainable future through real estate investing, our keynote speaker is the founder and lead broker at ROL Realty, a Nigerian real estate brokerage firm that helps local and diaspora investors build wealth through strategic property investments, land banking, and high value real estate opportunities. With over half a decade of industry experience, Our keynote speaker, by name Marian, has guided countless investors into profitable ventures, speaking at conferences, moderated panel discussions on real estate and entrepreneurship. She has also trained hundreds of realtors on effective marketing and sales strategies. She's also the author of a practical real estate investment book that teaches investors how to perform cash flow analysis and assess property profitably before committing capital. Our keynote speaker is a graduate of the Owner Manager program at Lagos Business School, where she strengthened her expertise in leadership, business strategy, and sustainable growth. She's also an award-winning Toastmaster, recognized for her engaging communication, mentorship, and leadership. She's passionate about real estate investment, property advisory, and wealth creation. The keynote speaker today is on a mission to help Nigerians and Africans worldwide make smarter property decisions and building legacies that last generations. Beyond her professional life, she enjoys traveling with her family, discovering new cultures, and immersing herself in personal development and business strategy programs. Ladies and gentlemen, please, with thumbs up or our emojis, let's welcome the keynote speaker, Miss Miriam Shoaib. Please, a thumbs up for her. I wanted to say a round of applause, but let's make thumbs up. Please, if you're here, engage by making thumbs up. Thank you. Send emojis to her. Thank you. The table is yours, the keynote speaker. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
How are you all doing today?
We are fine.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for the warm welcome. It's really nice to be here, to be in the midst of people that care about growth, that care about money, because money runs the world and we can't do without it. We all need to make our money work for us so that we can also be part of people that will run the world. All right. So while all the biography, I was listening to the biography, I'm like, is this really about me? I'm going to just do a little introduction to let us, because this conversation, I did not prepare slides because I want to speak from the heart. I believe that I'm in a space of people that are here with open hearts to get to know about real estate and to hear from my experience. I'm sure that a lot of people here also know one or two things about real estate. So let us just talk heart to heart, right? As someone that came from nothing, when I say nothing, like absolute nothing, and the first of 3 girls to a widow, because I lost my dad at the age of 3. I knew from right then that I needed to learn the wealth game. It was not an option. It was a compulsory part of my life. I needed to learn the wealth game because I saw how my mom struggled and I saw the kind of life we lived, and I know the kind of life that I wanted for myself and for my siblings. And that search for wealth stayed with me all the way till I was in university. And it wasn't until my final year of university that I got to know about real estate, as I was searching for the secrets to wealth building and wealth creation amongst the wealthy people that I've seen on social media and I've come across. And when I got to find out about real estate, I was so lucky that my NYSC placement happened to be in a real estate company. And when I got in, the owner of the company said he wanted me to handle content creation. And we all know content creation cannot come from a place of ignorance. You have to learn more about what you want to talk about for you to be able to create content about it. And this position forced me to really dive into investments in general and real estate investments as an aspect of wealth building. And it was from there that I got to see a whole lot of secrets that these millionaires and billionaires put into practice to build their wealth quietly, away from all the noise and social media. You just see them come to social media and flaunt the wealth. And I believe for somebody that by the age of 25 has a few acres of land in her name and has, our own really little nice cove and ride, I think that I've done a good job, at least to cracking the code of wealth building. And I am here to share a bit of what I have cracked, and we'll piece it together with what the other speakers here also know about real estate, and together we'll make it whole. Is that good?
Absolutely.
All right. So first of all, what is real estate all about? Real estate is an investment vehicle. It is the oldest form of wealth in existence, the oldest form of wealth. From the first generation, from Adam to the people of Noah to the Egyptians, everybody, the first form of wealth that people can identify is how much land you have, how much farmland you have, what is the expanse of land that belongs to you, that belongs to your family. And this has transcended generations up until our own generation. And it will continue to be so till the world exists no more. So the basics of wealth is in the heart itself. Now, for something that has lasted so long, it would be weird if we don't get ourselves curious and interested in actually owning a part of this thing. If it's a wealth that has lasted such a long time up until this point, then there's definitely something about it. And if we understand the secret of this vehicle, then we might also be able to build lasting wealth that we can pass on to generations to come. And for real estate, bringing it down to Nigeria, there are several ways that people own real estate or get into real estate and get to be a part of real estate investments. And I'm going to just list the two main ones. That is the residential real estate and the commercial real estate. Right. Please give me a second. Let me open the door. I have guests. Just a second, please.
So just close you can shut your video. Good. Great. That was our keynote speaker speaking to us. She will be right away. She'll be right back to join us on the talk. As she mentioned, she wanted to speak from her heart to communicate with us how she started the growth. I mean, she lost her dad at three at the age of 3, but today she has made a lot of investments in real estate just by or through her NYC, where she worked as a social media manager in a real estate firm. We cannot wait to hear exactly. Thank you very much for coming back to join us. Thank you. Over to you.
Right. Thank you. Thank you once again. So talking about real estate, I just mentioned the residential and the commercial aspects of real estate, because for residential, people would always need a place to stay. The home, a place to call home, a place to even, let's say, we all need houses. That is just the undeniable truth. And for commercial real estate, businesses need a place to operate from. As long as we are going to exist, we're going to do businesses. And as we're going to do businesses, we'll need a space, companies will need offices, they will need warehouses and all of that. So that is, real estate is a part of life. We cannot do without it. And there are people that are currently making huge wealth from this parts of our lives. And for me as a person, when I was thinking about getting into real estate, I came into real estate as a broker because I was in the real estate space. And being in a real estate company, I had a target. They'll tell you, go and sell, go and sell, go and sell. And for me, I was in that time, like every regular real estate agent that you see on the road, just have flyers, give people flyers here and there. And it was just, it wasn't really, I was just doing what they tell me to do. Not until I sat down with myself and I asked myself the real question: why would somebody even want to buy a property? Why would they want to? There are a lot of ways that people can make money. They can buy stocks, they can do crypto investments, they can do forex trading. There's a whole lot of ways that people can build wealth without having to buy a property that they are not sure if they will get scammed, if the developer is going to deliver on the promise and all of that. So when I sat down with that, that was what brought me to the realization that the people that make money through real estate, they are not making money because they are gambling. They are making money because they are solving a critical problem for people. Because like I said earlier, people would always need a place to stay. People would need a place to rent. I mean, as people are getting married, planning to get married, they want to rent a house that they will stay with their family. As people are moving cities, they want to rent a house. As people are getting higher income, they want to buy a house that will be their own so that they can stop paying rent. And so these people that are building wealth through real estate, they're not building wealth just from the perspective of, oh, let me just put my money here. They are building wealth because they are solving a problem. So now it changed my perspective into how I approach these people that have been able to crack the wealth code. And I interact with these people and get to know that when they are considering offers, they are considering offers on different layers. They are considering the offer on the basis of, is this real? Is this genuine? If I put my money here, is it going to stay? Or is it something that will disappear or that will cost me court cases? So when you look at all of these things, it guides you to be able to understand, okay, this is the kind of package, this is the kind of thing that this person likes. This person likes to do land buying. They are more comfortable with buying land and then maybe selling later or building by themselves because Are you saying something to me?
Go ahead. We have a break in transmission, so.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay.
So there are people that they just prefer to buy the land and build by themselves. There are people that they want to buy a house because Nigeria is a complex society. When you want to build a property in Nigeria, there are people that are just out there to rip you off. They don't mind just destroying the entire plan for you. They will steal all your materials, supply you substandard materials, and there's just a whole lot of thievery going on out there. So there are people that would just prefer to not have to deal with that headache and buy something that is already on ground. So different investors, different risk appetites. Now, when understanding all of these things guided me into how I would get into real estate, because I realized that the barrier to entry is not really about how much you have right now, because I didn't even have any money. The barrier to entry is the level of information that you have access to. Because the difference between those who actually make money through real estate and the ones that are gambling their money away in real estate is the quality of the information that they have. Sometimes, now let me put it in perspective. Right now, Wike is opening up new communities in Abuja, the likes of the Apo Wasa area, the likes of the Karishi, the likes of 2 years ago, Jahi. There are a lot of neighborhoods in Abuja that did not have good roads, not until this new minister came in and started doing road construction. Now, before the constructions happened, there were people that had access to certain information. They got whispers that a road construction is coming to this neighborhood. And immediately, they went and bought land in those locations because they understand one thing, that money will always follow development. Money will always follow growth. Wherever it is that growth is happening, development is happening, money would immediately follow. And so these people positioned themselves. And now today, a plot of land that was selling in the same Jahi for 20 million naira, 30 million naira, give or take, is now selling for over 150 million, 200 million naira in the space of 2 to 3 years. Now, some people would sit down and tell you that real estate is a scam. There's no money in real estate. But if you are listening to those kind of people, you will get the kind of result that they get. They will be in the same place without any property to their name. And we remember that real estate is the oldest form of wealth in existence. It is the form of wealth that is a physical asset that you can see. You can own it, you can stand on it, you can say, yes, this money generating tool is mine and I can see it physically. The stocks, you can't see your stock physically, you cannot use your stock. You can't say, oh, I need to travel. I'm coming to this city where I have stock and I'm going to stay in the stock. You cannot live in your stock. But real estate is the kind of asset that you can own, you can use it, and you can still generate money from it while you're still using it. So it's an all-round investment vehicle. And that is why when you are trying to get into real estate, the first thing that should be on your mind is not just, oh, how much money do I have? What you need is just, where can I get the right information at the right time? Because that is what will separate you from those who will win. I can also tell you that a lot of people don't know that without even having a lot of money, you can own property in certain locations simply because they are not in circles where these things are discussed. For example, as far back as 2020, I'm giving a Lagos example now because I came from Lagos. In 2020, you could own a plot of land in an area we call Lakowe. That is before Ibejuleki that everybody's shouting about now. You could own a plot of land in Lakoe for as low as 5 million naira. Today, a plot of land, that's 2020, during the COVID era. And that time, you could even own it by paying for 12 months or 18 months. Imagine breaking down 5 million naira into 12 months to 18 months. That is a flexible payment that many people could have been able to pull off. With their salary, they're earning quite okay. You could have been able to pull off this monthly payments and you would have owned that property in 2 years after the payment period. Today, that same land in Lakowe is selling for over 60 million naira. That is the space of 2020 to 2026. That is in 6 years. You can imagine 5 million naira times 5 million naira in 60 million naira. That is a huge, huge increase in the appreciation of that land. So there are people that they had information about this property or about this opportunity. They got to know that, they don't have to have a bulk money to be able to own this property. All they need is just to have a little amount every month drop. Instead of putting that money in Ajo, Esusu, and all these things, they can actually start putting that money in past payments for their land, and they would be able to own an asset that would pay them huge returns in a few years down the line. A lot of people don't have access to this information, and that is what separates those who win with real estate and those who don't. And some people are
okay, Ms. Schreib. So we are going to, because of time, we are going to cut you in with some key questions which we have planned already or designed for you to answer. All right. So please permit me to just bridge you in. We're still with you, but then we want to ask you some questions. Okay, so the first question is under the foundation and vision of investing in real estate. And the question is, how early should one begin real estate investing to truly impact future generations? How early?
As early as you can. There's no other way about it. As early as you can. The moment you have the opportunity, you have the information, the right information, you have the right people in your network that can help you. That is an experienced realtor, a lawyer that can help you verify your documents so that you don't get scammed, and a surveyor, maybe if you're in case of you're buying something where you need to get verification on the coordinates of your land or something like that. The moment you have that access to information and enough funds to just get yourself in, just start investing, because real estate is something that grows with you. Your real estate investments will grow with you. So why would you delay something that can grow as you're growing for later when you have grown? Then that means you have to even wait longer. So as soon as you're able to get into real estate, start investing. And in terms of the vision, I say if you approach real estate from a place of you're trying to solve a problem, you will go far. If you approach real estate from the place of, okay, if I'm buying this property, what impact is it going to have on the society? Okay, I'm buying this property now. It means that I'm already providing house for new tenants when they would need people that are looking to rent houses. I'm providing them an accommodation. I'm providing them shelter. If you're buying land, you're thinking, okay, I'm buying this piece of land that is going to become home to people in the future and that I'm going to sell. Maybe I'm going to develop it and I'm going to sell to people. When you have that kind of thought process, like what is the future value? What is the future projection of this thing? It guides you on the kind of properties that you put your money into, and to even drive you to do more investment in real estate. So yeah, I'll say as early as you can and come from a place of you're trying to impact the society.
All right, thank you very much. Question 2 goes this way. Talking about the strategy and structure in real estate, what for people who have lands already, or for persons who do not have and they intend to buy land, share with us the most sustainable real estate strategy for a long-term wealth preservation. On this row, we have like 3 questions for you. So you're just going to take them bit by bit, all right, so that we can flow. We started at 8:00, but we intended to wrap this thing up in the next 60 or 49 minutes. So
Okay.
you can just help us with trying to shorten your answers, but then.
No problem. Don't worry about that. So for people who already have land, there are 2 things that you can do when you were thinking of, okay, how to maximize your existing assets. The first one is if your land is in a place where there is a growing, like a booming demand for housing, more people are building houses, more people are asking for accommodation and all of that, and your land is in that location, you have 2 choices. or even you have three choices. The first choice is you sell it to people that are looking to get into that location, and you get your profit and pocket it, and you go and reinvest in another location that is still coming up, so that you can position yourself for profits again in another few years to come. That is your first choice. The second choice that you have is you spend more money on it to develop that land, so that it can now become a house or a home where more people can come and stay. Whether you want to sell it or you want to rent it out, it becomes a bigger asset that is useful, or that is useful immediately. That's the second option you have. But the third option, and the one that I personally love, is if your land is in a location that is a prime location. Let's say the likes of, in Abuja, Jahi, Katampe; in Lagos, the likes of Ikeja, Aja, and the likes, areas that are booming and people are asking for housing. Then you definitely want to do partnership. At that point, you want to collaborate. You look to collaborate with a developer instead of selling the land or spending your own money to develop it. Get a developer on board. The developer would, based on how big the land is, you can decide to build a block of apartments on it. And when you do that, the developer is the one that will handle the entire cost of development and the worries and headaches that come with developing a property in Nigeria. Because you, as a landowner, your contribution, your equity contribution to this development is your land. When you enter it, so we'll call this a joint venture. So when you're entering a joint venture agreement, you discuss all the details with the developer, and based on how the value of your land compared to the value or the cost of constructing whatever is going to be built on your land, you will decide how you share the property. So for example, they have to build a 10 units of 2-bedroom apartments on your land, and your land is going to cost them 100 million naira to build. Your land is worth 50 million naira. You already know that you cannot share the apartments equally. You can't share 50-50 at that point, because the developer is spending more money. But in the case where your land costs 50 million naira and your land is worth 50 million naira and the cost of building is also about 50 million naira, that means you're all going home with equal share of the units of apartments. And what this does for you is that amongst your units of apartments, you can choose to sell some to invest elsewhere to position yourself, and still retain some that will be paying you cash flow year on year. So this is the smartest way that I personally recommend for my clients, and I personally love so much when it comes to you own a land and you want to maximize the profit on it. Now, coming to somebody that does not have land at all and is trying to get in, there are two main ways that I would recommend. The first one is either you decide to help more people get into real estate, and I'm not telling you to become a real estate agent. I'm saying that partner with an existing real estate company or agent that is doing well, and all you have to do is just, that your uncle that has money that's living abroad, or your auntie that's making good money, or even your parents, people that have enough money to be able to buy into real estate. And your agreement with that agent would be, I'm going to refer people to you because they can do the investment, they can buy from you. And what I want in return is, let us share the commission, because I want to build up my own capital to be able to start my own investments in real estate. When you do this, you don't have to worry about, I'm not a good salesperson, I don't know how to sell. All you need to do is do referrals. So it's like an affiliate program. You are referring people that you know in your network that are able to do real estate to this person that's already good at selling real estate to them. And in return, you are just there getting money and gathering capital to be able to start your own real estate investment. So as you are helping people to get better in real estate, you are also getting to build your own assets in real estate. Then the second option is, if you are earning quite a comfortable amount, then start looking into growth corridors, start looking into areas that are upcoming. So the likes of the Apple Wasa, there's still land there for about 5 million naira. In fact, there are areas in Abuja where you can still get land for less than 10 million naira, upcoming areas that are rapidly developing. So you position yourself, that you just know that you have to wait a little longer for these areas to become prime locations. So when you look into those areas, you find out what areas are developments coming to, and then find out who are the people building in that area, what are they building. You can even take a drive around, just drive to that place, or just look around. You will see a lot of developers, because developers always get anywhere before other people do. So you see a lot of developers that are there, and then when you pick up their numbers, ask them, do they have flexible payments plan? Because a lot of them do. And in fact, you're surprised that sometimes you don't have to pay more than 100,000 naira monthly. Sometimes you don't have to pay more than, maybe if it's a pricey land, maybe not more than 500K monthly. I don't know. It becomes workable. You can now set a proper target to say, okay, yes, I can make this work, and I'll be able to. And before you know it, by the time you're even done paying for that land, you'll be surprised that the value has already gone up. So this is the easiest way that I've seen practically, and even me myself, I have used to buy properties in Nigeria and to own it. One thing that I'm going to add on top of all of that is that in the midst of doing property transactions, please always be careful, because there is so much scam in the real estate space in Nigeria. There is a lot of scams. In fact, sometimes you don't even know that you're about to get scammed. So please always work with an experienced realtor, and always involve a property lawyer, not just any kind of lawyer, but a property lawyer, because these people know more about the real estate space, and they're able to sniff out these scams and protect you and your investments.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that great answer, Ms. Tribe. I don't know if I'm getting the name rightly. Ms. Tribe.
Right, yes.
Yes, thank you. That's a beautiful name. All right, we'll get on to the next question. I should have gone into roles that trust or partnerships or corporate plays will play, but I think you answered that a little bit there. But let's talk about the market insight. Then afterwards, we'll ask you a question on the risks and sustainability in real estate. Great. The first question here is, what trends in the Nigerian property market currently favor long-term investors? What trends, literally, like, I mean, what trends can be what business, or maybe what social media style? Then how can investors hedge against economic instability while investing in real estate? The third question is, what mistake does first generation investors commonly make that affects generational continuity? We asked 3 questions here. What is the market trend? What kind of business should you venture into? Is it like, I'm sure you know that, is it like plazas or homes or whatsoever? Then how can investors hedge against economic instability? What mistakes do first generation investors commonly make to some persons who are just new? Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. First of all, on the trends in real estate, because real estate is a very old wealth building vehicle, the most basic trends are the ones that actually endure. I'm sure we've all, okay, maybe not all of us, but if you have been paying attention to the real estate industry, you would get to know about some. Let me tell you something interesting. In 2024, by December 2024, real estate in Nigeria, the chocolate business in Nigeria, that is real estate, a part of real estate investment, they experienced a boom. Like, it was billions of dollars that was brought into Nigeria, just spent on chocolate alone. Several millions of dollars in December 2024 to January 2025. When people saw this, a lot of people also started thinking about, at that time, we have so many chocolate businesses in Nigeria. Oh my God, I can't begin to count. There are a lot of, everywhere you look, you see chocolate apartments everywhere. And because of the news, when people saw the news, like, oh, people are getting so much money in chocolate, many people also went and rented apartments to furnish it and do chocolate business. And then came November, December 2026, thinking that that's the period where you make the most money. Holiday season is where you make the most money in chocolate business. And it wasn't as they thought. In fact, business was terrible for a lot of people that period. Because, first of all, due to the whole ICE issue in the US, a lot of people could not travel down to Nigeria. There were a lot of visa issues, people getting locked out and everything. People were scared to leave wherever they were to come to Nigeria for the holidays. So that already took out a huge portion of the market, a huge portion of the clientele that would have brought in the money for people that were open on making good return from their chocolate business. But now, when we go back to the basics, which is the regular rentals, landlords still collected their rent at the time that it was due. Not affected by sorry, there's some kind of disruption with the person talking. So they were not affected by the old issue, the trend, whatever it is on social media, whether people are taking short or not. If you are renting out your house on an annual basis, your tenant is still going to pay you for their rent. People that are renting out commercial spaces, they are still getting rented out. So I would say that the trend that continues to outlive and outperform every other trend is still our basic and our most common getting into rental property And that is in both residential and commercial spaces. Those ones are the basics. Now, coming into strategy, because the trend is that's the trend. For strategy on how to invest, one of the best strategies right now that I've seen myself over the past 6+ years that has been working and continues to work is keying into off-plan projects. And off-plan projects, keying into off-plan means that you're buying a property that at the construction stage. It is not a fully finished house that you can say you buy today, you can move in tomorrow. It is a project that is still under construction. You're still seeing the block. They're still laying the blocks or foundation of that project. And off-plan properties in Nigeria often come with flexible payment plan, like I've been discussing earlier. You can pay flexibly to own that property. And they also have lower entry price. So meaning that the price, a 2-bedroom apartment that is off-plan may be selling for 20 million naira, whereas a finished unit at the same time in the same location is selling from somewhere around 30 million naira. So your off-plan property is coming at a discounted rate because the developers need you to come in so that they can gather enough resources to finish up the project as soon as possible. So for you, when you invest in an off-plan property, you have the chance, you're benefiting on two fronts. That is on the lower entry price and on the flexible payment plan. So you can get to own an apartment that will be worth more. And by the time that you finish payments and the construction is done, let's say maybe in a year's time, the market always goes upward. So that means that even the property that you already had a discount on at that time has even increased more in value because there's a new market rate. Maybe the houses like that are now selling for 35 or 40 million naira in the market, meaning that you have profits on several fronts, like you have benefited twice on that same property, and you did not even stress yourself, you did not break the bank, you did not have to take a huge loan to be able to own that property because you're able to pay flexibly. This trend alone, I've seen it work over and over again. And in 2024, a client of mine bought two units of 2-bedroom apartments in Lekki Phase 1 for 290 million. In 2025, less than a year later, she sold both units for over 400 and something million. She sold both units for close to 450 million naira. Or yes, about 450 million naira thereabouts, a little over 450 million naira. And so she had over 100 million naira in profit and she paid flexibly. She had flexible installments to own the property. So this off-plan property investment is one of the really huge strategy that works a lot and pays you best returns if you have the money to key into it. Now, the second way is the usual buy land in a growing location, wait a little while for it to develop enough and then sell it. And this one, it will continue to work because land continues to appreciate. And if you're able to, you don't need to, if you don't have money to buy a full house, buy the land in a growing location where there's developments coming, let the developments happen, and then your land will have appreciated well enough that you can sell it. In fact, if you buy a few plots, you can sell some and use the money to develop and build a rental unit that will be giving you cash flow. So that is on the trend and investment strategy side. And this same, I think, edging against inflation comes into the strategy. So what strategy you go when you are trying to edge against real estate naturally tends to appreciate alongside inflation. So when you invest in real estate, unless we have something crazy like the rapid naira devaluation that happened, or in normal day, real estate grows with inflation. Real estate will always follow inflation. So as inflation is happening, price of property is following. Your rent, you will see it in your rent. Your landlord will start calling people that are paying rent. Your landlord will start calling you that they are increasing rental prices. So real estate generally holistically follows inflation trends. So you are always edging against the inflation. Now, for the mistakes that first-time buyers make, there are several mistakes that keep people in bad investments or even locked out from real estate investing. And that's the first assumption of, sorry, my baby. Sorry, excuse me.
Okay, we have our speaker. Please, thank you so much for all those you've said, and we hope that this baby doesn't distract you too long so that you can just come and finish up this great idea you're sharing with us. All right, welcome back.
Frankie. Yes. So for mistakes that first-time investors make, one of the biggest mistake is that they are thinking, oh, I must have the property in a place that's already looking good, because they think that real estate is about.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Before you get onto the mistakes, all right, this is a very good one because I wanted to get onto the risks. So I'll just add one question to you so you can continue. Is that okay, madam? Thank you. All right. So the one question I would add, don't forget what you're about to share with us anyways. So one question is, what systems must be in place to ensure real estate assets continue producing income across generations? So what are those systems that we must inculcate to ensure that this assets continues, or continue producing incomes for us? Thank you. Please go ahead.
Question that you just asked, masterclass on its own, and it's not something that I can go fully into right now. All I would say for that question to answer it, because I don't really have the time to be able to answer that kind of question in details, is that if you want your wealth, your real estate investment to last generations, you need to work with professionals. You need to work with experienced property management, asset managers, property management companies, people that can go beyond just managing your assets to rent it out or something, but people that can look at your investments per year and say that, okay, this house is due for an upgrade, or this house or this investment, it's time to let it go and invest in another location. So it's a whole lot. There's a whole lot there. And it's not something that we can unpack in 10 minutes or even, we can't even unpack it in an hour. So what you do when you want to make sure that your real estate investment is something that will transcend generations beyond you is to work with professionals at every turn. Work with asset managers, or work with property management companies that are also property advisory companies that would be able to advise you per term on what to do with the properties in your portfolio. So they will always do a check of your portfolio for you and then tell you when it is that you need to, do whatever it is that you need to do to ensure that you are still getting maximum returns on your investment. And this is part of things that we do, because we had a client that had a property that was generating about 50 million naira rental income, and the property was in a prime location in Lekki. The land itself, the whole property was worth 900 million naira on the market.
That's right.
As a 2025 January.
Good.
And then what we did was we looked at it, we said, this property can do so much more, because the house is already getting old. The tenants are not paying anymore. The rent is still the same. It has become stagnant over the years. We said, let's bring a developer on board. We're going to take down this building and build up a block of flats. People are looking to rent apartments in this location. It's a prime place that is easy to commercial areas. And we broke it down. Right now, they're almost done with the apartment blocks, about 14 units of apartments. And that property, as I tell you now, is currently valued at 4.2 billion naira. That is taking an asset that was generating 50 million naira in income, 100 million naira. In the space of 1 year, we've transformed that into a 4.2 billion naira asset. And the owners have about 2.1 billion naira equity, because they shared 50-50 with developers. And at the end of 2026, this year, it's going to be handed over before the end of this year. By the end of this year, they'll start getting a rental income of somewhere around 120 million naira to 150 million naira on that property. So that is just to give you a little insight into how real estate is beyond just buying a property. It is also working with professionals and always reviewing per time on what maximum returns you can get on your assets. So it's not, I just hope that I've been able to give you a little idea into what that aspect of real estate is about. Now, going into the mistake that first-time buyers, their first property has to be a big deal. It has to be in a prime location, because people are always like, oh, bush. And that is the most ignorant thing to say, because the money is in the bush. The money is in the location that people are not seeing yet, because people that make money in real estate are the ones that have the vision, the people that can see what a place would look like in a few years and not what it looks like presently. So that is why it is very important that you have access to quality information, like I mentioned earlier, so that you know places where there's whispers of developments coming into those areas. Even when they look like bush, you will put your money there and you will be there ahead of those people that are still doubting. So between being the doubting Thomas and being his landlord, you choose one. That is the first mistake. And then the second mistake that I see people make is they don't do their due diligence. They don't involve professionals. They want to cut corners. They don't want to spend money on professional fees and employ people that can actually guide them through. And because of that, they end up falling for scams. They end up making the wrong choices. When in an area where they're supposed to buy, where they are supposed to build an apartment block, they end up building a mansion and trying to get it rented out. A lot of mistakes that they make, because they just think, oh, real estate is just about just buy house, just build land, or just buy land, just build house. So there is not working with professional is a huge mistake that these people make, and also not paying attention to information and overlooking developing areas. That is one of the big mistakes, because in fact, a lot of first timers don't even have the huge money to buy a house outrightly. So why would you shy away from the one that your money can afford when that same asset can even take you farther than you can take yourself by saving your money in the bank? So again, approach wealth building from a place of vision, from a place of impact long-term impact, and it will definitely change how you do your investments. And definitely don't keep working with professionals because they will save you a lot of troubles.
Thank you very much, our very own keynote speaker, Mrs. Miriam Shoaib. Thank you. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
All right. Great. At this moment, please permit me to bring up the panelists. I told you we have amazing panelists who are professionals in the real estate game. These people will blow your mind. Please permit me to bring them up. But before I do that, we're running out of time, but we just need to know a little bit of our panelists just so that we pay more attention to them. We'll pay more attention to them, and whatever questions we have for them, we write it up there. Sorry, Mrs. Miriam, to say because we're trying to save our time, please check the chats. You'll see some questions which some persons asked you. Please help us put those answers out so that during the Q&As you will just answer them. Please, we are thinking we should give a room for the Q&As, but just drop your questions, please, because we are going to be giving the room to just a few persons for the Q&As. Please. All right, permit me to introduce our two panelists alongside the keynote speaker, who's going to be addressing some pondering issues on the real estate with us. The first is a man who is a chief executive officer of the Red Diamond Properties Limited. He's a thriving company. It's a thriving company specializing in property development, brokerage, short-let brokerage, property management, and real estate consultancy. And with years of hands-on experience and proven success in closing high-value property transactions, Mr. John has built a reputation for helping clients and investors unlock wealth through strategic real estate opportunities. I'm sorry I spilled his name already. I wanted to make it like a surprise. Please, let's welcome Barrister John Olisa. Please, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. If you're here, please let's make some thumbs up to Barrister John Olisa for coming to speak to us. And the next panelist is a strategic consultant. He currently serves as the team leader at Hexagon Cradle Limited, a prime real estate firm helping groups and individuals create wealth through fractional and agro real estate investing. He's passionate about helping startups, companies, and brands to grow. Please let's welcome TM Ferdinand Anthony. Please, thumbs up to TM Ferdinand. I call him TM because he's a great Toastmaster. Please, Ferdinand Anthony. Please, thumbs up for those of us here. Please give them a thumbs up, motivate them. I also like us to give a thumbs up to Miss Miriam. Please give her a thumbs up if you loved that section with her. If you love that section, thank you. I see love. Give her a thumbs up. Thank you. And the next panelist I will bring in is Mrs. Miriam Shoaib. Please, more thumbs up so that they can engage us and share with us what we probably don't know or impact us. Thank you very much. Now, please, where are these our panelists? We just love you to come up and just show your videos, please. Open your video. Thank you. You're welcome, Mr. John. Mr. Ferdinand, thank you. Great. We have a couple of this question. Now, I don't really know, but I'm just going to throw out this question so we can just hit it up right away. All right. Now, first of all, let's talk about the entry-level investors. All right. What advice would you give young professionals who believe real estate is too expensive to start? what advice can you give them? And this question will be for Mr. John Olisa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chidima Ogwo. So the real estate sector is a wide one. In my book, How to Make Money in Real Estate in Nigeria, I discuss about 12 ways you can make money in real estate. And there are so many of them. The lowest hanging fruit, which so many people are not aware of, is what we call real estate investment trust. That's the lowest hanging fruit, in my opinion, if you don't want to be a property broker. But you're coming in as an investor, you come in through real estate investment trust. Real estate investment trust are publicly traded companies on the Nigeria Stock Exchange who invest in real estate fully. Now, they could be equity real estate investment trust, they could be mortgage real estate investment trust, or they could be hybrid real estate investment trust. A hybrid real estate investment trust is a combination of equity and mortgage. The real estate investment trust is basically a publicly traded company where you buy stock in the company and the funds, they invest it in real estate, whether residential real estate or commercial real estate or industrial real estate. It's as low as 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, you can start. And they are quite profitable if you look at their financials, you do your due diligence before investing. I did my first investment in real estate trust in about 2024. And the good thing about them is that the law mandates that they pay dividends every year. So I said in 2024, I was paid dividend once, 2025, I was paid dividend twice. And the real estate investment trust that I invested in, the stock grew about, at a point in time, up to 100%. I kid you not. Now, that doesn't always happen. Some stocks, you know, the way the stock market goes, stocks fluctuate. But by the time I sold it, and I got about, in addition to the dividend I'd already gotten, I'd gotten about 50 to 75% increase in the value of my stocks. So if you are looking for something that you can start with very little capital, real estate investment trust, in my opinion, is the lowest where you want to invest your funds. So that is my take on it. There are so many other investments like short-let, like normal yearly rental, but those are quite capitally intensive. But if you do not have the funds, you can start up with real estate investment trust. Or you can invest with other, there are apps like, and I'm not recommending any, but I'm just giving examples like RiseVest, Bamboo, and some others where they have different investment platforms, and you can buy stock, whether so RiseVest, for instance, you can buy stocks whether in real estate, whether in shares, or whether in bonds or the likes. And I know for the stocks, for the real estate investment, they are put at mid-risk and you're paid returns on a quarterly basis, And then they were doing between, I think, 12 to 15% in a year. And they invest your funds in American real estate that pay on a monthly basis, and you get your returns on a quarterly basis. So that's if you want to do it. But here in Nigeria, I would say real estate investment trust. If you want to do it directly, you get a stock brokerage firm that is, yes, a stock brokerage firm where you can buy the stocks directly from the Real Estate Investment Trust PLC. You buy it from whether an Alpha, a Morgan Capital, and or the like. So these are stock brokers that you buy from them, and you can buy the stocks directly. So let me stop there for now. There's so many others, but let me just say a real estate investment trust is the lowest hanging fruit for you to start as an investor in real estate in Nigeria. 10,000, 100,000, you can start. But there are no assurances of how much returns you get. It's just like the normal way the stock market goes, and you can get your dividends on a yearly basis. Thank you so very much. Over to you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you very much, Mr. John, for that stockbroker, which you just expatiated to us. All right. The next question will be leading to Mr. If I own a land, or all of us here owns a land or property, please share with us would you rather advise us to invest to invest in the real estate or bring up another generational opportunity or financial opportunity with that property? Please share with us. Are you with us?
Excuse me. Sorry.
Okay. No, that question was meant to be for Mr. Ferdinand Anthony.
Okay, I think the network has.
Yeah, it has breached in. Mr. Ferdinand.
Yes, please. Can you repeat the question?
Madam Moderator, the question is not even clear.
Yeah.
Okay. That question was to expatiate more on the best decision we should make as probably landowners or persons who wants to invest. All right. So that's why I said, if a couple of us here owns a property, owns a land, all right, what is the best business you should advise us to do or to carry out? Are you going to encourage real estate or encourage some other financial businesses that we can also venture into much more? So you can bring up the idea for us. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Blessing. And good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me on this call. If I understand your question correctly, you're talking about fractional ownership of a piece of property. So let's say 5 or 10 of us in this room own a piece of property. You're asking what we should do or what we could do with such property. I want to believe that is the question. Okay, excellent. So there are terminologies that are used in the real estate space that we actually have to coin it to fit our ecosystem. For instance, when I got into real estate, there are certain terms that I was first conflicted with, and I couldn't use them directly for the kind of transaction that I want to do. For instance, when Miriam Shoaib was speaking, she actually spoke about property flipping, that is buying property in underdeveloped area or approaching developers and buying properties when these properties are still at off-plan level. When you do such a practice, it is called property flipping, and people make lots of profits from it. So if we come down to the scenario that you just painted, so if we own the property, owning the property is determined from the onset. When did we buy the property and what was the investment goal? If the investment goal was for us to flip, that is buy a piece of property, hold it for a short period of time, or you buy and put it back immediately in the market and expect to sell it within a short period of time and make profits. So if 10 of us own such a property, we could sell, take the profit, split it, or look for another piece of property and position again. So when I say position, I mean we're buying another piece of property to wait for another period of time to resell. Now, the investment goal is the primary thing that we should be looking at as at the time the property is being purchased. So if we bought this property for the purpose of land flipping, our decision is going to be different from if we bought the property for the purpose of land banking. Our decision is going to be different. If we bought the property for the purpose of developing, it's also going to be different. So you see, these are the dynamics that play when it comes to property investing. That's why if you listen to everyone that have spoken here, the focus is on knowledge first and then consulting or working with professionals to ensure that you are not making what I call king size mistakes in space called real estate investing. So I will give an example of one thing that you could do with a property, for instance. And the reason I spoke about ownership and the terminologies that we use, I would have loved to call this particular kind of investment fractional real estate investing, where a group of people come together to buy a piece of property. And so if you look at it, it could be either fractional or crowdfunding. So let me use just different terminologies now. if, for instance, we crowdfund to buy a piece of property, say 10 or 5 of us, put 5 million naira each, putting together, that's if we're 5, it amounts to 25 million, and we buy a piece of property. Let's say the investment goal is for development. When we buy this piece of property and we have to raise money again to develop the property, now we develop the property with maybe a value of 100 million naira. This brings the total value of our property to 120 million. So what happens at this stage is that valuers are going to calculate the value of each block of flats or unit of terraces or duplexes that are built on this structure, and they will be shared amongst the equity owners in this investment. Now, this is an option, sharing the property, or we can decide to hold the property together and either lease it out. We could either lease it out, or we could turn it to short-let apartments or use it for any purpose at all. And the rental income that is coming from such property can be splitted among the equity owners of such investment. So if you ask me, it's not going to be a straight-up answer of exactly what you should do with the property. I will still have to question what are the dynamics, what were the investment goals, and what was the original purpose for the purchase of that property, and the group itself, what is their short-term, long-term, and mid-term goals with respect to real estate investing. I think I'll have to stop there.
All right, thank you very much. You literally answered that question. In fact, I wanted to throw up the question to be, if you were given a choice to make a decision on what to invest in with your land, would you rather be a real estate or some other financial business opportunity? So that was the question there, but there you answered this question accurately, because you had to make us understand that you need to check the investment value. You need to check the proposition value on what exactly you are going to be doing. All right, thank you very much. The next question will be going to Mrs. Schweib. Mrs. Schweib, share with us. You mentioned the joint venture. Initially, you mentioned joint venture, but then some landowners would probably be confused on who exactly to have that partnership with. All right. So could you please share with us the kind of persons they should look too deep into to invest with? Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So for joint ventures, there's different kind of partnerships when it comes to joint ventures. But the most common partnership in joint ventures happens between a landowner and a developer. And in this case, the developer often acts as the financier of the project as well, meaning that the financial cost of developing that project falls on the developer. And for you as a landowner, what you're contributing is your land, that's your equity in the project. And now for the kind of people that you should look out for to partner with when it comes to JV, JV is something that you have to be very careful about. You cannot just work based on trust alone. You have to do your due diligence and background check on the developer. First of all, you want to find out about the standard of delivery that developer maintains. Are they people that build quality houses and deliver quality houses? Or are they people that build substandard houses? Because that alone can make or break your investment, and it can demolish the value of your assets. And you don't want to have to deal with court cases and all of that. It's a very ugly battle to fight. The second thing is check the track record in terms of if there are people that finish projects and if they finish on time. Some developers, they can build quality, or they might be building the foundation, everything looks very good. And just when they are getting to the roofing level, they start dropping the ball. Maybe they stop showing up, or because they don't have the funds anymore, they have run out of money. Your project now becomes an abandoned project. For years, you know, some buildings, they have been there for years, nobody has done anything on it. Simply because developer is the kind of person that jumps from one project to another. They just jump. And they don't complete their projects. There are different kinds of developers. So you want to be careful to know that the person you want to work with is somebody that they finish what they start and they finish well. And they also finish on time. Not the person that will tell you, it will take 18 months to develop something. And then at the end of the day, you start counting 5 years and you're still on the roofing stage. I've not even started doing interior works. So these things are very important. So due diligence, background check on your developer. You also need to check their financial capacity. Do they have the money? Do they have the funds? What do they want to build? You check the proposal that they present to you or in fact, you can reach out to a developer and say, I have a land here and I want you to give me a proposal on what you can build on it. If the developer has plans of expanding into that location, they will most likely take you very seriously. And when they do, they can propose to you whether they're going to build apartments or they're going to build duplexes on the land. And when they do, you guys start talking about, okay, this is what your land is worth. You can tell them what they will also do their own checks to verify the claim on the worth of your land. And they will tell you their own costs of building the proposed structure on your land. And when you do that, you want to get your lawyer on board immediately, because your lawyer is the one that would look through the fine details of the contract. And your contract has to have clear terms of or clear agreements on this is what you're going to build and you're not going to build anything less than that. This is how long it's going to take you to build. You want to get all of that into signing. You want to get into signing that they are going to take care of all necessary approvals so that they don't build the house and then at the end of the day, they don't build and sell. They will have sold their own. And when you are about to start enjoying yours, you just see bulldozers coming to demolish your houses because they did not get building approvals before they started building. So all of these things are things that you have to work with your lawyer with to ensure that they monitor your contract, covers you, or protects you in case of any kind of fraudulent act that may come from the developer. So yes, when you want to work with the developer, you have to do your due diligence, not just on trust, not just because somebody said, oh, I know this person or this person has money. You have to confirm that they do have the money, confirm their financial capacity, confirm their track record in terms of building capacity and how honest are they, their integrity in their business, and definitely get a lawyer to check all your contracts for you to ensure that you're safeguarded from any funny play that might want to come into play in the process. I hope I've answered the question.
All right, thank you very much. So what about those people who have the lands? They have developers who just come, make promises and say, okay, they would start the work, or probably you've gone through all checks and they are okay. Is there any, as a landowner, we believe that you should sell your land to earn money or you should build on it to earn money. So is there any junction where those developers have to compensate you, for your land that you have brought, because you don't just provide your lands like that and all of that. So if there's any question with us.
Location for certain, and it's neither here nor there. There are certain locations where you find landowners put premium on their land, despite having an agreement that, okay, when you come, you're coming to build maybe 50 units of apartments on this plot of land, on this acre of land, and we're going to share on whatever sharing formula they agree on. Some people will still tell you, before you can start the project, or before you can sign the contract, you have to pay me 100 million naira premium on the land, because I don't want to just wait for you to finish. I don't want to be waiting before you finish the project. I need some kind of premium payment and all of that. So it's called premium. And yes, in some locations, it might work. Locations where the land value is very high, that it would make more sense for the developer to actually pay you the premium than to go and look for buying the land, or to go and start bringing out money to buy the land. For example, the location like the Lekki that I mentioned, where the land was worth 900 million naira, it was going to cost the developer about 900 million naira to build what they wanted to build on the plots of land. But I mean, for them, so it was a question of if the landowner don't ask for premium, but if they had asked for like a 50 million naira premium or 100 million naira premium, I'm pretty sure that the developer would still have considered taking it and then negotiating to deduct the premium from the value from the units sharing, to deduct the value of the premium from whatever it is that they're going to share. There's a way they work around it, and it's not something that is not a one size fits all. It's based on negotiation. It's a transaction by transaction basis. So yes, premium, people do ask for premiums, and it will make sense if it's a location where the cost of acquiring the land outrightly is so high that it's just better for them to just pay you that premium and move forward. But if you are in a place where they can easily just raise the money and buy the land, and they might just ignore you, and your land will be there longer without anybody coming to partner with you. In fact, even in premium locations, there are certain developers that would, if you sell them premium, they will block your number immediately. They don't want to work with you because they have that track record. They are big. They know they are big. They know a lot of people are giving them offers every day. So you are now coming and telling them you have to come and pay me premium when they are already telling you, okay, we'll do fair sharing formula. And you're still saying, oh, come and give me. They will just ignore you. So it depends on who you are working with, whether the developer is somebody that's desperate enough to pay you the premium. If your land is that worthy and shiny enough for them to actually pay you the premium. And so the list goes on. So it's a per transaction basis. It's not a one size fits all.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Miriam, for that great answer. I know there are lots to the real estate because I happen to be a realtor as well. So I know there are lots to that joint venture, which I know a lot of us here will be so interested in. But then we have 15 minutes to go because we intended wrapping up the session at 9:30. We are going to be throwing, a lot of persons will throw that questions to you, but then, I mean, one more question, or let me just leave the role open for some other persons to answer. For some other persons to ask, I beg your pardon. I just leave the role open for some other persons to ask. But by the way, thank you very much, our panelists, for joining to answer these questions. I didn't want to repeat a lot of questions because Mrs. Miriam had said so much on that. But one question troubling me on my mind, for example, you own a land and you want to, venture with a partner. Can you still be the owner, or can the name of the property still be yours, or the name of the land or whatever you guys are agreeing on still be your name? Or so, I mean, how do you have to discuss that? That question will be for Mrs. Miriam, please.
Okay. So the question is for me. So I'm going to answer.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, the land belongs to the owner. It doesn't matter whether you're doing a JV. I mean, as long as you're the owner of the land, whatever title documents still remains in your name. Nothing changes. In fact, that is one of, and I'm not going to go into details because this one is a masterclass that you pay for. So that is, it doesn't change anything. The land will continue to be in your name. What will change instead is that you're going to have to give them a letter of authority to sell the portion. You're going to declare basically that you have entered into a joint venture with this entity and they have full rights and ownership to sell their own units of apartments or houses that they have built in that joint venture. So that is what you issue to the developer. The title continues to remain in your name, and the land ownership does not transfer to the developer. It continues to stay in your name. What will change is that you've given authority now to them to own their own portion of the developments and to sell their own portion of the developments. And for anybody that's coming to buy from the developer's side, all they will need to do is get their deed of assignments duly signed, and then they can go ahead and register that with the government. So even though you are still the one that the land is in your name, you cannot come back in the future to say, oh, work that way, because you've already transferred ownership of a certain portion of structure on that land to other people. So they now have claim to their structure. So that is where we would stop on that particular topic. It goes a lot further, but I'm not going to that rabbit hole.
Thank you very much. I know you're reserving. In other words, that could be called the arrow of O, right? Yes, we have a lot of questions. I'm sure people usually hear C of O, arrow of O. People don't really understand that. I know. But then I'll leave the table or the session open for some questions and answers, please, for some questions. It's usually Q&As, but I think for some questions, I'll not leave the A's. I'll leave the A's. All right, so for some Q's. All right, please, if you have questions, feel free to open up. Just make a sign and we will call you up, please. We are going to be, questions is just going to cover 10 minutes. Thank you. Or rather, we'll do 7 minutes just so we can have a closing remark from the host. Are we together? If you have questions, please just make a symbol and then I would open the session for you to ask. Thank you.
All right, good evening. Can I go ahead? I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, my question in particular, I have a question for Mr. Ferdinand. Mr. Ferdinand, are you on call?
Did you say Miriam or Ferdinand?
Ferdinand, yes.
Okay, I'm on the call.
All right, thank you very much. We had a conversation earlier with respect to agro real estate and venturing into it in a fractional. Can you hear me?
Your line was breaking.
We can hear you. Someone is talking in the background, please.
Okay.
Is it my background?
Yes, I think it's yours. So we talked about, I know you're into agro real estate. Then we talked about venturing into it in a fractional component, meaning you're coming into it bit by bit. And I thought it's interesting, right? So I would like you to shed more light on that. But I feel people might be interested in it. It's a very interesting space in real estate. So would you mind shedding more light on that, agro real estate, and venturing into it in a fractional way? Thank you. If you got my question.
Yes. Thank you very much, Abdul Karim. So farm estates and resorts have become a thing right now in Nigeria, and it is not new. Most times I speak about it and people wonder what it is, but it is not completely new. There are lots of estates, especially in the West, that are fully agro estates. And we are doing one of such projects around here. If you look around Abuja, if you go especially in the Kuje area, you'll see a lot of people owning farmlands there in acres and hectares and all of that. And most of these properties are either just a single company or an individual owning a farm estate. But we at Hexagon Credo decided to take it a notch further by saying that we know that a lot of people actually want to go into real estate. They want to own properties either as property flippers, they want to own properties either as land bankers, that's people who buy properties and hold for the long term. Okay, so these are two criteria where people who can come in at early entry level or low entry level into real estate. So you can come in to own properties for the purpose of flipping or for land banking. And so we decided to be more innovative and say, if you're buying a property that you intend to flip over a period of time, or you want to land bank on the property, you can actually earn residual income on this property by actually using them for agricultural purpose. So we decided to introduce something called Agile Hybrid that help us sell properties to a group of individuals. So people come together and crowdfund to buy a piece of property, and the company actually splits the property for them to own. So it is not fractional real estate per se. So that's why I said I'm very careful with the use of terminologies, because the way they exist in the books are not exactly how we are implementing them, especially in this part of the world, especially in Nigeria. So it is a crowdfunding investment. However, the property is not co-owned as in a group ownership. So the group can buy together while the company give every individual a deed of partition with regards to the lots that they are buying. So that's how this functions. So if you are an early entrant into the real estate space, you can have a conversation with Adeza Abdul Karim. He's going to tell you more about how this structure works. So right now we have WhatsApp groups where people join, and we're able to educate them, give them more information, and also show them how they can buy this property with tiny little bit of investment that is paid in installments. I'll have to stop there. Thank you for lack of time.
Very much, Mr. Ferdinand, for that great answer. I guess some persons here asked some questions. I'm just going to be reading out that very question. To some persons who earn about 100,000 a month or 50,000 a month, what are the steps to take in purchasing a land or a property, as the person wrote, as a newbie or a new buyer? I know, but I believe it's the right word is as a starter. What are the first steps? I mean, is it possible for me to buy a land if I'm earning 50,000 naira monthly? Okay. Then the third question was, how do we know we are dealing with the main realtor? How do we know we are dealing with them? I believe Mrs. Marian answered this question by having investigations, but then please throw more light. And then the third question said there are past experience where two or more realtors promote same properties. So how do we identify this differences or this form of confusion when we see them or when they're there? Thank you.
Are those questions for me?
Right, exactly. These questions were for you.
Okay.
You can just check on the chat. You see the person who wrote that.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, the first one say, what steps do we take in purchasing landed property as a newbie, right? How do we know we're dealing with
Exactly.
it?
Yeah,
How
but
do we know we're
expatiate.
dealing with main author? Okay, so I'll quickly give bullet points to that. The step-by-step to obtaining or purchasing or acquiring a property as a newbie is, I will encourage that you work with either a lawyer or a realtor, somebody who knows and understands the niche market that you are looking to go into. Like someone rightly said, real estate is actually very wide. So as you're going into it, you have to understand the niche markets that you are going into. So if you're coming in as a beginner and without much funds, you have to consider what investment vehicle are you looking at? Are you coming in for fractional real estate? Are you doing property flipping, land banking, or you want to go? So these are, areas to consider before you actually launch in. So once you have made that decision on what investment vehicle you want to use, then you want to start considering the realtor that you want to work with or a legal practitioner. I recommend a property lawyer who understands properties very well to give you more enlightenment about such investments. That is what I encourage every newbie to do. But if the cost of a legal practitioner could be so high for you, I would recommend you work with a realtor who has a legal practitioner who works under him or works with him for verification of properties. I mean, there is also the place of you knowing how to take the right steps. For instance, if you're buying a property in Abuja, the Abuja Geographical Information System is available and open to anybody to walk in and make verification of property. So if somebody advertises a piece of property for you and tells you he wants to sell, you can request for a photocopy of that property. All you need to do is to pick the file number, take it to the Abuja Geographical Information System, and they will plot it in their system, and they will tell you the history of that property, which is some of the primary information that you need. And going forward, you do other verifications that are needed. And then the next one is, how do I know I am dealing with the main realtor? Well, interesting. I don't think this is a problem. When somebody advertises a property for you, whether he's the main realtor or not, if there is a chain of realtors that are advertising the same property, it is not a challenge at all. All you need to do is to get the file number, like I mentioned earlier, take it to the Geographical Information System. And once verification is done, you know exactly who owns the property and who has rights to deal on such property. And then we move to the next one that says there are past experiences where two or more realtors promote the same property. Yes, I would say this is not a problem at all. Once you have a piece of property and you want to sell, you can decide to give that property to more than 10 or 50 realtors to advertise for you, because as the property owner, all you want is to see that you make a quick sale. And one of the ways to guarantee that, using the law of averages, is to ensure that a lot of people are putting this property in the faces of people. So having multiple realtors advertising for one or the same property is not a problem at all. Where you have challenge is where this property is sold to multiple people. So as soon as we still fall back to verification, you either go yourself to NAGIS or AGIS or any state. Every state has their geographical information system. So you could go there and plot in the plot number, and you will get all the information that you require. So it is the realtor that advertises the property to you that you will deal with at the end of the day, not the multiple realtors that are advertising the property. So it doesn't matter the number of people advertising the property. Once you pick interest, do your verification either by yourself, the aid of a legal practitioner, specifically a property lawyer, or a realtor who is grounded in that niche market that you are looking to invest in. I think I've addressed all of those three. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'll take just 2 more questions. But someone asked, if someone is earning 50,000, is it possible to buy a land if your salary is 50,000 or 100,000? Is it possible? I mean, we need you to give us hope. Thank you.
Okay, the answer is absolutely yes. If you earn 50,000 naira, you can actually own a piece of property. You must not insist on a particular location, and you must not insist on. So you have a choice to decide the type of property, but you must not insist on a particular location. So you can keep your eyes open. I love what Mrs. Miriam Shoaib said about location. A lot of people, they have their investment, their entry point for real estate investment is actually very low, but they are targeting areas that are already developed. That is not possible. You will not get property, especially if you are in Abuja or any of the high-rising states where you expect to get, you can't get property with such amounts. But if you are open and the purpose of your investment is not to quickly flip, if you want to hold property for the long time, you can actually start investing with 50,000 naira monthly or even less. And you must not also, if you're considering real estate investing, buying or owning property is not the only option to invest in real estate. I heard John talked about real estate investment trust. There you can invest even with 100,000, 20,000, or even 5,000 naira, depending on the portfolio or investment opportunity that is available by the brokerage company that is advertising at the time. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We have 2 more questions to go, one from Mr. John and another from Mrs. Shoaib. Let's take the first one, which says, how can one position themselves as an authority in real estate? I guess that this question was answered.
Blessing, are you there?
But that Mr. John Tromolites, how can one position themselves as an authority in real estate? The floor is open for you, Mr. John. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. In so many ways, but I'll just say one thing, and I'll build up on that, which is to take an academic approach to real estate. When I studied real estate back in February 2022, and one of the people I really followed is Dr. Stephen Akintayo, the group CEO of GTEX Holding, GTEX Global. They have estates in up to 15 states in Nigeria and about 4 continents of the world. One thing I like about him is that he took an academic approach to real estate, and he started doing Facebook Live every day for so many years. And there's one way to become an authority: read, research, desire to know the sector practically. And one thing I love is my background as a lawyer. And I think I'm going to take an academic approach to real estate, so much so that I'll become untitled sort of professor of real estate. So what do? I watch videos, I read the laws, I read articles, and I write. If you go to my Facebook, Instagram pages, you will see I show every day, educating people on real estate, marketing properties, talking about shortlist, talking about land banking, talking about property development. More than I'll just say is be a great researcher, read a lot. Because when you read a lot, you'll be able to deliver. Look at Miriam Shoaib, how she has been talking so much, because I believe she reads so much. In addition to reading so much, get practically involved in the sector. Beyond reading, there is something about being practically involved in the sector. You will get practical knowledge. Real estate clients can easily decipher between someone who has theoretical knowledge of the sector and has practical research, from reading reports. Abuja is the fourth largest growing city in Nigeria. How did I know that? From report. So with that knowledge, when I'm speaking to you about real estate, I'm not just telling you basic things. I'm telling you things backed up by statistics, backed up by research. So in summary, to become an authority, take an academic approach to real estate. To read about the laws, read about the rules, read about the happenings in the sector, and also be practically involved in the things happening in the sector. Go on field inspection, network with other people in the sector, let them tell you their stories. That way you will have practical knowledge of the sector and you'll be on your way to becoming an authority. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. John, for that great answer. It was absolute. Great. Please go make your research to know better on the real estate and how well you can invest or how well you can venture into it. All right, the last question before we have the closing remark is going to be to Mrs. Shoaib. What is the first step towards earning from real estate with zero capital? I believe you answered that before, but just to formalize for this, individual. Thank you.
But I don't think I need to say anything.
Please, for our sake.
Zig Ziglar said that if only you'd help as many people as possible get what they want, then you eventually get what you want. I'm paraphrasing here. So, and I believe that philosophy that's a philosophy that I walk by, and I believe strongly in it. So if you really want to start, you don't have the money, then think about helping as many people as possible get into real estate. And I think I already even gave a practical way. If you don't have the selling skills, you don't have access to all the information about the best deals out there, just refer people that you know that they have the capacity to buy, have an agreement with somebody that's already doing well in that space and get them to pay you. Share commission. Having 20-30% of something is better than 0%. I mean 100% rather, better than 100% of nothing. So you want to think about partnership. When you don't have the money to get into real estate, then start thinking about collaborating, partnering with somebody that does have the money and help people get into real estate. Another thing that I can recommend for somebody is you will need to invest in yourself to earn more. Like, for example, like the person that is earning 50K per month to wanting to invest in real estate, while yes, it's possible for you to buy and still get to invest in real estate, it will definitely take you a very, very long time. But what will take you less time is actually just in putting your money aside. And when I say putting it aside, I'm not saying go and put it in a normal bank account. Open an investment account. There are a lot of, like all this Cowrywise, Lotus Capital. There's a lot of them out there. Do your research, and then those ones, they don't require you to own so much money. As low as 5,000 naira, 10,000 naira, you can start investing in mutual funds and all of the likes of safe investments. And what they do for you is that they preserve your capital, the original money, and still give you small returns on top. So while you are saving there to build up enough capital to be able to buy a substantial, a plot of land in a relatively developing neighborhood, you can also now take the money to invest in yourself. The best investment will always be in yourself. So invest in yourself, learn high-paying skills, and very importantly, pay for access. One thing that I live by in my life is that I never shy away from paying for access, because where They are discussing opportunities. They are discussing growth. People that are money-minded, growth-minded I don't mind how much it costs. As long as I can afford it, I will pay. As long as I have that money in my bank account, I will pay.
I believe that was a breaking transmission. Please, we hope that Mrs. Miriam will come back. Okay.
Hello?
I can actually hear you. I think it's a break from your end.
It's okay.
I can hear you, Mrs.
It was
Miriam.
a breaking
Go ahead.
transmission. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So like I said, just pay for access so that you can get yourself into rooms where growth and opportunities are discussed, because that will exponentially increase your chances of getting higher paying opportunities, whether it's a job or contract, business, and the likes. So just show up well, invest in yourself, invest in your wardrobe. You cannot afford not to look nice, smell nice, have a nice smile. Go and practice your smile in the mirror. And of course, practice your diction, practice your accent and everything, so that when you come across this kind of people, they don't.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Miriam. And right here. Okay.
It's like the network is bad.
The network happened to be too interesting tonight.
All right, I think we lost the moderator. Can we hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. I think we lost the moderator. So thank you very much. Time has been fast spent. We are supposed to finish this by 9:20, and this is 9:42. That's 22 minutes overtime. However, it's been positive knowledge and nuggets all the way. My note is full with a lot of points jotted down. And like I said at the start of this, the goal is to have implementation at the end of this webinar and not just come in, listen, and leave it at that. Knowledge gained without action is as good as no knowledge gained at all. The goal is to take action. If you're already doing something, intensify. If you're not doing, get started. Don't come and listen in and do nothing about it. That would be a waste of time and effort on our own part, the part of the faculty members this evening. These are busy professionals that took out their own time to show up tonight and share value with us. So it becomes on us to act on it and do something positive with that. So at this point, I want to sincerely appreciate.
Okay, so I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you, our dear host. I wanted to welcome you specially and also close with Mrs. Miriam right there. I loved all she mentioned. And as what's one person mentioned here, become an agent. Fortunately, that's why we see a lot of agents here in Abuja. But then you can only be too strategic to aim or get a result as an agent in Abuja or anywhere you find yourself. So that is literally why there are a lot of agents out there. So you could actually take up that step as well to also grow in that aspect. So please permit me to call upon the host. I know the host is here, but the host, I wanted to introduce you specially. Permit me to please introduce the host specially. Our very own host is a young man whom I respect so much. And in the Toastmaster Forum, he's a man who happened to be my mentor. Yes, by grace. Mr. Abdul Hakim Adiza is a Nigerian-born entrepreneur, distinguished public health professional, seasoned trainer, and esteemed coach specializing in branding and skill monetization. He has owned the horn in capabilities of over 2,000 individuals across various sectors, ranging from grassroots to mid, senior management levels in both public and private domains. He has helped lives in that sense. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdul Hakim Adiza. Please, can we make thumbs up for Mr. Abdul Hakim Adiza? Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up for him for making this a successful one today. Thank you. Thumbs up if you're here and you love how he organized this call today. Please thumbs up. Now let's make thumbs up for our panelists and the keynote speaker. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. If you were too impressed, you picked a lot from tonight's section, please thumbs up to our keynote speaker and the panelists for giving us or sharing their great knowledge on the real estate sector. Thank you so much. I hand over the baton to our dear host for his closing remarks. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chidinma, for doing justice to the session today. You were amazing. Your moderation was apt. I just have to give you that. So thank you very much for taking us through the reins of this meeting. Yes.
It's a pleasure.
As stated, right, let's do something. Let's go ahead and act on this. Let's not just listen in and do nothing. Let's take action. It's fasting season and we had to drag out Mrs. Miriam to leave breaking her fast to come share with us this evening. Mr. John left his family. Mr. Ferdinand left his family just to show up and speak to us this evening. So I don't take that for granted and I sincerely appreciate you all. Mrs. Miriam talked about paying for access. That part is important. I want to close with that. If there's something that I don't joke with, it's network. I can spend my whole life doing just one thing, which is networking effectively. And networking doesn't mean I collect contact and that's the end of it. Build meaningful relationship and see how we can be of benefits to each other. In essence, benefit each other and benefit the world. So invest in your network, invest in your net worth. Having said this, I want to sincerely appreciate each and every one of us for coming on call and staying in till the very end. So Queen says she needs more clarity on trust investments at Mr. John. So please, I will share Mr. John's contact with you and you can reach out to him to get that.
Yes.
And check African Guru Academy's page. We have the details of all our speakers there. Please reach out to them directly. If you're interested in purchasing any property, you can reach out. You can reach out to me and I'll direct you to them. Let's engage. Let's follow them. Let's keep showing up and let's all ensure we take action at the end of this. So we've come to the end of this. Please feel free to unmute. Let's hear your voice. Don't come on call from the start to the end and we didn't hear your voice.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, our dear host, for that. It's a pleasure having us all live at the Skill to Gold webinar tonight. Thank you for joining. My name remains Madima Ogwo, your favorite moderator. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let's see your face. Let's hear your voice.
And have a beautiful night. Okay.